Hello everybody, welcome to the 9th episode of Clout Chasers. My name is Herva. No,
And
my
I'm
name is not
Christian.
Herva. My name is Christian, but I'm joined by Herva.
I'm Herva.
You have to forgive me. Playing 2 treasure cups in a row does things to you.
A hello weekend.
Herva, how are you and how has your week been?
My week has been alright. I also played in both treasure cups. We managed to secure the tickets when they went on the last minute sale Friday or Saturday? Friday. I mean, I was happy that we got to play both events, and I felt really good playing in the Saturday event. I initially planned to play Gecko Moria, because obviously Christian has shown it's probably the best deck now. And I planned to practice Gecko Moria Mirrors with Christian Friday evening, which was supposed to be stream content for our patrons. But due to a very unusual set of circumstances, I didn't manage to get home before like 1 a.m. So I ended up just, going with the comfort pick, going with Sakazuki, because I spooked out. Like, no other way about it. I was just too scared to run into Gecko Mirrors without like significant practice against the good Gecko Moria.
But that's also what we are always preaching, that players shouldn't switch without proper preparation.
And especially as something that felt like such a crucial piece of the tournament puzzle, because due to Christian's results, and I just feel this will keep compounding, I think a lot of players decide, hey, maybe Gecko Moria is the deck, so you really have to, play the mirror well. And maybe I'm underestimating my ability to do it on the fly, because it does seem a lot more like combat-based than Sakazuki Mirror or something, so if you have good fundamentals, you should be able to, fly by the seat of your pants successfully. But yeah, I just got spooked, so I went with Sakazuki, and I took the event list. I just took One Wrong's list from Asia Championship Finals. And honestly, it just felt like a very comfortable list, very similar to OPO5, something I'm used to. So I didn't really have any qualms about playing with it, and the deck felt so good on Saturday. It was just like a very well-oiled machine, and I started 7-0, and then 8th round, I play a mirror, and I get out Moriad, very out lightsabered, and I think at the crucial moment, my only chance for lethal is taken away by a miscommunication, so it happens. I wouldn't win anyways, because my opponent had a 2k in life. But yeah, that was unfortunate. Then round 9, I played against the Katakuri, who has like the curve. Like, I lost the dice in both of these games, so I was going first. Played against the Katakuri, who went Pero swing 7, Gedasu swing 7, 7 cost mom, 10 cost mom, and then reject Amaru. And he had like too many good triggers for me to clear everything and still be able to survive that. Especially because I didn't see Sabo, Uchi, or Kuzan, which are like the 3 most important cards when you're playing the event version, because you want to establish board and keep hitting them with the 5-6k bodies. So yeah, I was very frustrated after that loss, and then to just make matters worse, last round I just completely bricked. It was like, I sent a very bricky hand, like 3 Eruption, Houndblaze, Vergo back, and on the mulligan I draw 2 Vergo, 2 Helmepo, and it was either Rebecca, either one of those two, anyways. And my play on 4, I won die roll. My play on 4 is Rebecca get back Virgo. My play on 6 is Rebecca get back Virgo, play Helmepo, so I can Houndblaze his Kuzan. And yeah, I mean, you can guess how that goes. He had searches, he had 2 Morias. I just lost very, very cleanly. And ended up like 57th. I had really good tiebreakers. And then Sunday was just pure disaster. Round 1, I logged the same deck. So after Saturday, I was really upset with how the tournament ended, so I just didn't want to play or practice Moria for the rest of the day. I was like so upset, so I just took a shower and I watched a bunch of anime openings with a friend. I don't know. On Sunday, I wake up, I'm feeling pretty good. Like, the deck ran smooth yesterday, like what could possibly go wrong? And round 1, Katakuri, I win die roll, so I'm already pretty happy. He goes Pero on 3, I have Branyon 2, of course. Kuzan on 4, he swings 7, rejects, and Pero swings, of course. So I'm on 3 life. On 6, I cleared the Pero, and I'm trying to remember if there was a trigger. No, there wasn't a trigger. There was Onami? Yeah, on my Branius, I have no Houndblaze target, so I cleared the Pero with Robucci. Then he plays 7 cost, and then I start hitting face. He hits Satori. and then I clear everything with Rebecca Hina Eruption, or maybe it was Ice Age, and oh no, sorry, it was Eruption, Hina, Rob Lucci to clear the Trigger and the Big Mom. Oh, Trigger was first peril, not Satori. He gets the Satori later. He plays another 7 cost, swings 8 into Lucci. I defend it, starts swinging big into life. He gets another Onami to KO the one of the Rob Lucci's. Plays the 10 cost. I clear the 10 cost, but I'm in a really bad position where I cannot put him the low. I cannot take his third life. He has very few cards in hand. If I swing and he gets a body, I insta-lose to reject or to Amaru. Or no, just to reject because he's not in Amaru range. So I decide not to risk it. And yeah, he just plays another 7 cost. I trash my life and have to go for game next turn. And he has Beg and Sanjin life and I lose. And I'm very upset because once again, I got like completely blown out by Katakuri. To be fair, that guy did finish well. I think he was 7-3 at the end of the day. And then round 2, I go against Moria. I have no removal for Peron on the first turn. I can only remove 1 Peron on the second turn. Then he plays 2 Hogbacks, which I cannot remove with my Moria play. I just play Valor Moria, and he goes Ice Age Moria. Then I do like Rebecca Hina, Lucci, something clear. I'm not sure if I clear his Moria or the small bodies. I can check the footage later, but it doesn't matter. He goes another Moria with Eruption, clears my board. And I'm looking at my hand, I'm thinking, this is still playable. Like, I have Sabo, so if my Rebecca's can get back Sabos, because at some point, like turn 3 or 4, my hand is like 2 Morias, 4 Rebeccas. And I have a Sabo in trash. I'm thinking, like, if I get to late game, I can, like, loop Sabos, as long as something on my board lives. But then he does Eruption, Ice Age Moria, and clears my Moria plus Lucci, and I just, lose from there. So I just drop. So yeah, that was a bit long-winded. I had to get it out of me. But Christian, how did your tournaments go?
Well, to sum it up succinctly, a lot of people will tell me that I'm definitely getting some real protagonist vibes with the amount of consistency I'm getting lately. And yeah, I did really well. I went X1 in both tournaments. X1 with an asterisk for the Sunday. Regarding Saturday, my only loss was a very early round 3 Sakazuki. He basically had everything, but that wouldn't be an issue. The bigger issue is him playing a Kuzan on 4 and me being unable to clear it. And unable to clear it the next turn and the turn after that. I was almost in the game, but after he played his third Moria, it was basically over. And that was basically it. Won all my other games. Had a really nail-biting anal game where I'm constantly just playing safe. Like, I have a very, very like tense turn, but then I see a line which just makes it super safe for me, and I always take that line and just have an easy game. Actually played a lot of new games. By a lot, I mean 2, which is more than I was thinking about seeing. 4 Sakazukis and only 2 mirrors in Saturday. Ended up being 8th. Even though it was a very early loss, that loss, the opponent did really well. He was also no X1. And then we get to Sunday. And I have to say, it was kind of crazy to play 2 tournaments in a row. I definitely felt the strain on me playing 20 one-piece rounds in 2 days is a lot to ask. And as I previously said, playing in an online environment takes a much bigger toll on me because you have to pay attention not only to your own game, which is hard enough, but also trying to pay attention to what your opponent is doing. And I was definitely paying less attention if my opponents were cheating because I was so exhausted. Anyways, Let me just see my pairings. Okay, so that tournament I played 5 Katakuris, which was, and I'm just seeing it now. I played 0 mirrors on Sunday. Yeah.
After you decided
Katakuris
to swap in some cards for mirror specifically.
for a mirror specifically, yeah. 5 Katakuris, 4 Sakazukis, and 1 NL. That's kind of crazy now when I'm saying it, because the 2 tournaments kind of mushed together in my head. And now when I'm looking at it, I can't believe it that I didn't play a single mirror that day. Unbelievable. Anyways, my only loss was around 8 to a Sakazuki. What happened is, at some point, I just have triple Morias in my hand. And I decide to go for later. He also has triple Moria. And at that point, I decide... after my second Moria, I cannot clear his... so I clear his first Moria, he plays the another one, I can't clear it. And he plays the third Moria, I cannot clear any of the Morias, so I have to go basically for game. And he has 8 cards in hand.
How much life is he on?
1. No blocker, nothing. And because I KO'd the blocker.
And what's your board?
My board is Moria, Borsellino, Absalom, Hogback. So he has 8 cards in hand, just at the back on board. 8 cards in hand, right? So Eruption, and I'm on like 3 or 4 life. But I have only 2 cards in hand. One of them is Eruption. Go through Rebecca, 7 face, counters. 7 face, counters, 7 face, counters. So he had 3 2Ks, and he actually gives me a 2K on one of the 7s. So that's 4 2Ks, 2 1Ks. I still have, so he has 2 cards in hand. I have 1 Dawn and a Barcelona and a Gecko Maria. And I'm like, well, I look at his grave. I only see like 3 non-counter cards. Sure, he bottom decked, I think, 2 with Lucci. I swing 6 with Borsellino, blocker. He gives me another 2K. He has 1 card in hand. I swing with Gecko into Gecko, and he has another 2K in hand.
Okay.
So, out of his 8 or maybe even 7 2Ks, he had, I think, 6. And that's what, 6th or 7th turn? Like, sure. And then he just bombs me through all my life, right? Because he has 2 geckos and I have only a single card in hand. I mean, can be mad about it. The guy drew the cards and played around it, right? But definitely unlikely. Anyways, so that's my loss. My Katakuri games were relatively close. Adding additional sabos was very beneficial. Whenever I drew them in that matchup, they were instrumental in me winning the game. So, in a way, me taking for mirror was also me taking for Katakuri, which paid dividends for sure. And then we enter my final game. I don't want to name the player. I'm beyond exhausted. Playing versus Sakazuki. He wins the die roll, very important, goes second. And I have a horrible hand. I have, at one point, an Eruption, double Hina, triple Moria. That's my hand. But I do some magic with Peronas, I do a lot of pressure. I do double Morias. He's missing some removal. basically, instead of Hound Blazing, he had to use swords several times. So he didn't have the best removal. And we get to a late game where I swing 5 face twice. He has 1 life, and Sabo and Rebecca on board. I'm on 2 life. Basically, I swing 5 face twice. He counters. He has only 1 card in hand. Okay, and now I just have to play it safe. I have 8 cards in hand. Enough counters to live. He has 2 Morias on board. I can't clear any of them. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I have 2 life. If I just clear this Hina, he can't kill me. And I do Hina, use Leader ability, and instead of saying Hina, I say face. I resolve ability, KO Saba, and say 6 Hina. And my opponent's like, no, you said 6 face. And I'm baffled, because I definitely, like, my whole turn is about, okay, he defends life, now we have to clear Hina. And they're just like, I'm sorry, but you definitely said Hina. Well, can we get the change? No.
You definitely said face, right?
Yeah. I watched the recording after. I definitely say face. I do correct myself after resolving Absalom. I mean, corrected myself. Like, I even didn't think that... I even thought that I said Hina, because I swung 5 face.
Yeah, the reason I asked is because as you were saying that, you said that the judge told you that you definitely said Hina, which is like the same mix, but the other way around. So yeah, that's how it happened, guys. Like,
you can already see how it's all happening in my mind, right?
That's anyways, when you played this many rounds twice.
And he just takes the life. Now he has Rebecca. So if I hit Hina, he either has to give me his last card, and therefore he cannot have
Tsuru plus Houndblaze or Eruption plus Houndblaze.
Yeah. Or he gives me the Hina, and then he just doesn't have enough attackers to kill me. But now he just takes the life. Now my Moria has to go face, instead of... If I go into Hina and he gives me a card, then I just... He doesn't have Houndblaze then. If he blocks with Rebecca, I can just kill it with my Moria. And basically I'm in a completely winning position. But because of this little misspoke, basically a brain fart from my end, I lose the game on the spot. Basically, yeah, that 1 card last in hand was Houndblaze, which I assumed so, and he top decked Tsuru. And the game is done. I leave my game, and I'm all levels of tilted. Like, I have a reputation for being a very calm person and player, and Hervé is often the one who's young and how should we put it, explosive with his emotions and thoughts about the game. I'm much more composed, but I was anything but composed at that moment. I was doing breathing exercises. I was kicking air. It took me 2 hours to calm myself, because I had great tiebreakers. If I win, I'm probably second. I played a horrible hand very well, and then I lose because I said the wrong thing. I'm super mad. But I'm slowly getting to my senses, and then I get contacted by a judge, and he asks me for my footage, because my opponent is under suspicion of cheating. And I take a look at my footage as well, and I do notice something strange, and that is my opponent is... Well, whatever he is doing, he's not shuffling his deck. He's moving his hands, it looks like he's shuffling, but upon closer inspection, you can see that no cards are moving.
Let me see if I have a stack of cards to demonstrate what it looked like. So I think you explained it was like he just had the cards and did like basically just did the hand movements but didn't move any cards, right? Basically.
Something like that, yes. I don't want to go into details, but basically I didn't catch it because I was mulliganing my hand. And as I said, this is my 20th One Piece round this weekend. I'm focused on my game. I didn't catch it. And then some people might say, oh, it doesn't matter if he's not shuffling his deck if you cut the deck. That's not exactly true, because if you can separate your Morias, your removal, your 2K evenly across the deck, it doesn't matter how your opponent cuts, you will always have a good game. You will never have a game with no Moria, a game with no removal, a game with no 2Ks,
and
or a game with
you said he pile shuffled before that, so it's very likely that he just basically arranged everything.
And then the judge says, it looks like your opponent was doing this every round. And now I'm even more mad, because not only do they lose to a technicality, a rules sharking, I mean, it's on my opponent's discretion whether he wants to allow me to correct myself or not. So I'm mad at myself. I don't think it's fair or sportsmanshiply, but fine. But now that it looks like my opponent is cheating, my anger has doubled. And now I'm fuming for God knows how long. But in the end, we get the news, my opponent is disqualified, and I do get the win. I end up being second, and that's the end of the story. I definitely believe that I deserved the win. Like, I had it on board and I lost the technicality. And then, coupled with the fact that my opponent was cheating, I definitely don't feel like I was handed anything. I personally think that
and
I definitely deserve that win.
It says a lot about the opponent when they cheat and they basically fix their deck to draw what they want, and they still end up in a losing position and only get out on technicality. So
I don't want to I don't want to give them any thoughts. Cheaters are giving us all a bad name, and they reduce the enjoyment and professional integrity of this game tremendously. End of the discussion. But that's how it ended. Quite a roller coaster of emotion. I played out of my mind for the whole weekend, and to end it on such a sour note, then see that cheating was going on, but then get basically saved by diligent judges. A roller coaster. All I'm gonna say.
We're kind of brushing over it, but there's been a lot of cheating this weekend. It's actually absurd how many repeat cheaters we actually played against. On Saturday, I play round 6 against under the table guy, the white beard that had cards added to him when he was holding this, and somebody was adding them from under the table to his hand. I beat him round 6. Christian beats him round 7. Another Croatian player plays a cheater on Saturday, and then yesterday, Christian plays against the guy in round 10. Sandro, who ended up getting 4th, he initially loses to round 3 Sakazuki, who he was.
No, I think it was Katakuri who had.
No, that was Turtle. That was the thing Turtle tweeted about, I think. And Sandro, he said his opponent was having someone add Hound Blazes from above the screen.
Oh yeah, that as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there was that guy who we saw there was another DQ. We don't know what that was about, but some guy who was 3-4 or 4-3, and there was also the guy who didn't get DQ'd, who had very clearly marked sleeves. I'm not sure what's up with that. I'm not going to pass any judgment that. I don't know, judges decided what they decided, and that guy ended up with the result that he got. You can see Turtle's tweets on the matter if you want to explore it yourself. But yeah, there has been like a massive uptick in cheaters, or at least it felt like this weekend. So
which is so sad. Like, we had a couple of tournaments won by like high-profile cheaters. Then, not only do we see those players again, but we see some more cheaters performing very well once again. Like, I thought it was too much before. Now I'm beyond baffled at why Bandai is not doing.
yeah, that's where the most pain comes from. The fact that they're still playing, that you go to an event and you expect to see this person there playing like nothing happened. Like, they should just be banned forever. Like, and I don't think that, like, they should be banned from One Piece and every card game Bandai holds. Like, if you're banning someone from One Piece, why would they be allowed to go over to Digimon or to Dragon Ball now that it's coming out? Just yeah.
Anyways, yeah. I think that we are going through the motions. Once again, another online tournament, and once again, we are talking about cheaters. It affects us deeply. We are professional card game players. We hold integrity to quite a high standard, right? We make a living out of this game, and it's
like the key point is, for game to exist, the general player base has to exist and be happy. And if there's cheaters in the community and they're discouraging players from getting into the game or continuing to play, it harms everyone. That's pretty much the underlying issue in this whole subject.
We are trying to brush it off and be like, it is what it is, but it's taking a toll, at least on me. But yeah, on the happier note, yes, a lot of players congratulated me, not only for good performances, but basically for being the best performing player of this format. And
without a doubt,
I'm very grateful for A, having the opportunity to actually compete, and B, for everything. Like, the deck listens to me. Sure, brand new misses sometimes. Sure, you get some bad draws, but I always feel like I can work with it. I always feel like I have a game, except sometimes versus Sakazuki when they have everything, but whatever. What I'm trying to say is, I'm really happy with where I am with my understanding of the game, with understanding the format, and with my familiarity of the deck. So, all in all, great deck, at least for me as a player, and I had a lot of opportunities to showcase my prowess, and that's what I did. Anyways, now by that, like, people often tell me that I don't praise myself too much, and I talked about this, I think, on one of our streams, that that's actually one of my personal flaws, that I don't enjoy success as much as I think is normal. I'm very goal driven, and I always just think about the next thing. But yes, if I take a step back and look at it, look, I had just a ton of good performances.
And you changed the minds of a lot of people about what the...
Maybe single-handedly, almost, yes. Yeah. And yeah, like, what were my bad performances? Well, it was X2 on an online, where I didn't get top 16 because of some bad tiebreakers. I was top 16 in Toulouse, where I lost to Whitebeard because I didn't see a single 2k counter for the whole game.
13, yeah.
And all the rest are at least top 8, if not better. So
you forgot the most important one, the passport misplay.
The
passport blunder, yeah.
Sure, yeah. But that's also that's definitely my worst result this season, for sure. Getting passport O at a tournament. Anyways, yeah, great results. Very proud, but on the other hand, Like, Birmingham is next week. That's all I'm thinking of.
It's this week. We're filming this on Monday, and it's going up on hopefully Wednesday on time once.
Preach. Anyways, let's get to the main topic of today, which is a tier list. A lot of our listeners asked us to basically rank order decks and leaders, and that's what we're going to do. We left out the OPO 7 leaders. We probably won't have time. Oh, and also, we have a very strict time limit because...
Let's just quickly agree what the tiers are going to be, because these are like the presets, right?
Sure. But let me preface this. We have a hard time limit. One of our local friends surprisingly informed us that he has a birthday, and we are basically going to hang out with him. So we will talk fast. Anyways, first tier, what do you want to call it? Tier 1, Tier 0, best deck, whatever. Tier 1.
Maybe tournament winning? I'm not sure how. Let's do Tier 1. What do you want to, then just Tier 2? Or are we just doing numbers?
I don't know, maybe Tier 1, Tier 2, then we can say...
Dark Horse.
Dark Horse, sure.
We can always just delete tiers if there's too much.
Sure. Let's just say needs some love.
Needs lots of love.
Sure. And probably the one that was left here, do not bother, is adequate. No, but yeah, sure. Let's kick it off.
Okay. First, this is, I believe, Blue Yellow Ace.
Yes. Fabian had a very nice interaction with this leader. I think he played it in Toulouse round 8 or 9, and he got stomped. This leader basically hard counters Law because he can get to 7 almost every turn.
And to be fair, that guy was high rolling. He just kept hitting and being 7k every turn from like turn 2. And then Fabian was like, oh, okay, so he's perma 7k. He has the big bodies. As a red purple, there's only so much you can do. Because it's not like Black and Wolfie where if you bottom stuff, it's not coming back. Ace is churning through his deck really fast. So.
Yep. Anyways, I still believe that, as we discussed, that's where I would put Ace. Like, he's probably gonna be near the top of this tier.
We'll try to sort it, power-wise within the...
because he has some really strong things going for it. Okay, what about
regular
the
ace.
other ace? Like...
I feel like the days of red are gone.
I do believe so as well. Like, spending cards for removal instead of playing units for removal is just, like, outdated technology, right?
And especially when all the other colors access the Library card pool better. Like, the pool of Library Pirates cards is just... it's not what it used to be. It's slow, cards get bottom deck, it's inefficient. And obviously the best decks also have some stuff that's just not KO'able. So a lot of your cards end up dead in those matchups. If you want to play red and base it on combat, you have Zoro, you have Whitebeard, so I think...
And I always thought that the best way to play Ace is the Striker Ace, where you can actually get infinite value with basically drawing 2 cards per turn. The events are just not there yet, I think. Like, sure, Seaquake is kind of sweet. Flame Emperor is a potent card, but I don't think it's there. So yeah, I think currently not worth the effort.
Oh, yeah, we probably won't rank stuff within this tier.
Yeah, but in this tier makes no sense.
Okay. I think the next two leaders are fairly similar in how they work, and since they're both like yellow share color, Velvetti and Arlong, and they both focus on swarming the board fast, and they have some tools to like expand their swarm. But the counterplay to them is very similar and very, once you know how to do it, it's pretty easy to consistently beat them. Like, you just don't attack life early. Don't risk running into triggers that you cannot deal with in the moment.
Yep.
I feel like that's, in a sense, they're almost the same deck. So,
I would agree so, but now with EBO1, Betty got the new
Ivankov, which is like on equivalent.
Really, I think it bumps the deck maybe even a whole tier. Anyways, I think viability is definitely in the needs lots of love. While, yeah, better than Ace, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Next up is 7-cost Yellow Mom, which I don't know. I feel like as long as Katakuri exists and does the thing she does, she still has a relevant good effect. But we haven't seen anyone like successfully play her or tech her since Opio 3, and I think that speaks
the thing
enough
is,
about...
spending to dawn is quite a lot, and the triggers end up not being that important. Even now with Kikinuja, which is probably one of the strongest trigger, like just getting a free body. Investing 2 dawn just to get trigger.
It's not a bad trade, but it's just not. It's not the kind of. If you're playing yellow, the way you beat decks like Sakazuki and Moria is through being sufficiently aggressive. You're never going to out-control them or outvalue them, and this is a value-based ability. So.
Yep. And late game, like you just want to do 7-cost moms and 10-cost moms, right?
Yeah.
And you can only do... Basically, your only opportunity to efficiently use the ability is on 9, when you can do ability and 7-cost mom, right? And that's... I don't know. Doesn't sound good to me, at least.
I agree. Next up, Black-Yellow, Linlin. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot what she does. Please enlighten me.
Let me, remind you. She heals by discarding a card when you have, I think, 1 or less life. Let me read it for you. So, Dawn 2, when attacking, pay 2. So 4 Dawn in total. Trash a card from your hand. If you have 1 or less life, heal from the top of your hand.
So a worse queen, a significantly worse queen.
Yes. Has a cool card combination, but
now we have a better option.
You have to have an insane ability, and this is not it.
Rosinante, what's your take?
I think as long as black is strong, Rosinante is not getting there. Like, he has some cool interactions, mainly with searchers early, where you can protect them with your leader. Kid late game, where you can basically protect him from one of the big swings, right?
Yep.
So there are some cool interactions, but as long as there's easy ways to deal with
8-cost Kid.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe not today, but we will revisit this with Opio 7 in mind. So not just Opio 7 leaders, but what happens to all the other leaders, mainly, not only when they get some support from Opio 7, but mainly when Sakazuki leaves the meta. And I think, for example...
There's going to be like shockwaves through this entire board.
For sure. I would definitely give Rosinante a whole tier more once Sakazuki leaves. Okay, Lakers Croc.
One of our locals has been kind of tearing it up week after week with Lakers Croc, and I also think that deck is severely underestimated, at least in this EBO1 format. Like, not sure how it's going to develop in Opio 7, but this deck can grind, and this deck can like pull stuff out of its ass so easily, and it has one of the perhaps best defensive plays available. Oh, sorry.
My problem is that he really struggles with whiteboards, and 2 top-tier decks are doing exactly that, Moria and Law. So, while I think the deck's strong, I think the meta is very unfavorable for it, like, very unfavorable. So I would still put it in needs lots of love.
Fair.
Like,
probably at the top of the tier, though.
Yeah, for sure. Blue Croc. Dude, I kind of hate this deck. Like, I still remember when it was not a good deck, and it was the only like unwinnable matchup for Rebecca, who was a good deck. At least I thought so when I brought it, and that was my loss for missing top 16. Just unwinnable. I don't know if you've ever done one of these, but it's in contention for being the worst matchup of all time in One Piece.
Yeah, it was
But
very
yeah,
unpleasant to play on the Rebecca side. You just get all the stuff that usually survives just gets bottom deck.
which is not a big of an issue if your leader can attack, right? Then you can still pressure them. When your leader can attack and they're just removing everything you put on the board, you're not going anywhere, and you're going there fast.
Because in all matchups you just have Kairos play the role of leader, and here your leader gets bottom deck. Next up, that was a slip of the mouse. Where would you put Blurple Croc? Basically a weaker Lakers Croc for sure.
Yeah. Something like here, yeah. Under Ace, probably even. Like having 4 life ability is, I think, power creeped. Like, if you compare this leader to like Reiju, just in general, like forget about all the Germa cards, right? Just you want to play a blue-purple leader. I think that Reiju is quite a bit better. So, just not there. Doffy. Yeah, probably above, under sub, probably under Ace. So the deck got some support. Versus Moria, Birdcage is a card. Like,
and against red purple as well. That's where it's even better.
So the deck has tools. It's quite reliant on Tenko's Doffy. It's pretty bad into Sakazuki. Almost. Like, almost. Okay, the other blue Doffy. Like, Weevil is just not it, guys. Maybe the new Jinbei, but
it's probably better than Arlong though. So I'm thinking of this.
Sure. I would still say it's not worth the effort, but definitely top of not worth the effort.
Yeah, like he has the good blue tools. He can just run advantage over someone, but it's not very reliable.
Yep. Okay, then we get to NL, and this is my hot take. I would even put it as Dark Horse. Definitely top of the Dark Horse. Or, I find it so hard to put it at the bottom of the
Actually, I can see it. I never respected NL, so he has 2 very different strategies that he can employ, but both affect his deck building, so you're never getting the full package.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Pretty potent deck, and it can definitely beat a lot of players who don't know what they're doing. But as long as you know the matchup, you don't get got by second Yamato in a row or Amaru for game or something like that, right? Then you should be good.
At least if you're playing any of the decks in tiers above, like
you
can assume what's going to end up in these tiers, and that stuff should reliably beat NL.
For example, as long as you can clear one of the big bodies from NL, he'll just have quite a hard time catching up. Like, if he plays a big body and you play a Gecko and clear his big body, he's in trouble. Yeah,
and even if you cannot do that, like, maybe you can just kill him fast enough. Like, there was a top 16 or top 8 match yesterday, Red Purple Law against NL. Maybe it was in top 4 of the NA regional, and from what I heard, Red Purple Law beat NL in under 20 minutes, like both games, just zap, kill him, and
and they say that matchup is actually bad for Law, so... And I mean, we have some strong local players who are really into NL, and none of them believe in the deck anymore, so...
Yeah, they play Moria.
Basically, yeah. Okay, Garp. Always found Garp kind of cute, but... Dude, the red is basically not doing anything for you in this combination.
I mean, I know what the idea here is, and he's probably very underexplored, but the idea is if you can abuse the red mechanic of attaching Dawn for free with the effects like Starry Nami, 2K Brook, whatever, then you get the use out of the other part of his effect, and then you're getting synergy with black cards, which probably the best supporting card that has released for this Leader is the 3-cost Brook in EBO one. That because you now have an easy access to a repeatable KO, much better than the 2K Garp. Was it even a 2K Garp?
2K Garp. Yeah.
Yeah, then the 2K Garp from OPO 2, because he's 3/4 and he also reduces by 1 himself. So you have that like good line of repeatable reduction and KOing. But yeah, just getting the synergy down between these two very different game plans. Not the easiest thing. I mean, I kind of like the idea of the Leader, and by having black and access to Gecko Moria, he's already,
We discussed it previously. Like, as if you can solve the problem of you having to have both reduction and KO effects, you're really getting a lot of power there. We talked about it last time we were discussing Kyros, right?
Yeah.
And Garp basically says, maybe take a few good reductions, but just do all the KO effects, and like I will provide the reduction. Do bear in mind the reduction is definitely not free. Like, let's say you want a KO a 1-cost with Brook, you basically have to attach 3 Dawn to your Leader, right? To,
a 4-cost,
reduce
a 4-cost, yeah.
And that's a lot. Like, and sure, you're swinging 8, but who cares? Like, what are you swinging 8 at? So, somewhere there, yeah.
Yeah. Next up, Hannibal. Once again, blue-purple, and better than this one, I think, but not by much.
Yeah, I still want to put some time and effort into that deck, but I think the main thing it's waiting for a good purple high drop. It's
maybe we are robbing ace here. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we'll get back to and reshuffle. I think.
I don't think we'll have the time for that.
Yeah. Like, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Iceberg, okay. You want him here.
Oh, for sure. Maybe even here, yeah. Semi-Hannibal. I really want to see if something's there. I know I played Iceberg previously, and I know the weaknesses of the deck. Like, I spent I think I did at least 35 games with Iceberg in testing. So I know the weaknesses.
Yeah, and we placed them very neatly.
The weaknesses have been addressed with the new cards. He just needs the high drop, and then we are golden.
Yeah, because currently, if you play Iceberg against Doffy that's next to him, and he plays Birdcage, just sign the slip, go away, submit the loss. Of course, that's not something you run into a tournament, but
yeah, you're running into Birdcage. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Anyways, has potential for sure. Dude,
this
Isha.
is Isha.
Yeah, black green.
I mean, I'm not too opposed to it being here. It's black. It has access to black and to all the good green cards that have come out recently. But to be fair, his leader abilities kind of suck. I just think it's the color combination carrying him. So,
but
and I know it's not a hard carry because Perona is probably going to be in this tier now that I think about it. So, I mean,
no. Under. I think it's under ace even.
Okay. Very, very cool from you.
Okay. Ivanko though. Yeah. Put it there.
Once again, a lot of people at our locals have been having a lot of fun with Ivankov and seeing some decent results. The new support
is just that crazy of a card.
Inazuma is insane. Having a draw 2 on a 7k body that you can sometimes play for free, and effectively drawing 4 cards at the end of your turn. That's some flesh and blood stuff. You finish your turn, you draw 4 cards.
Yeah. I mean, not much to say. The deck is relatively hard to pilot. Quite linear, as in there's not much you can do to adapt. But it's like try playing against him and see if you miss one removal on Inazuma, and see how the game goes. Dude, it's also, for some reason, I thought Ivankov has 4 life. That's a 5 life lead.
Yeah.
Like, pretty cool. Not quite there yet. I think it needs just one little card, and we're cruising. Okay. Purple card. I mean, I would literally much rather play Hannibal than Purple Kaido, to be honest. I would rather play Crocodile. No, I would rather play Kaido over Crocodile, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I agree. Crocodile has access to some good blue tools, and Kaido is just purple good stuff when there's so many better purple good stuff options.
Yeah, and he basically got nothing. Like,
he will get something in OPO 8, but until then we are...
And I think he's probably the biggest victim of power creep, I think. Like, he's just watching everybody else have fun, and he's like taking a look at his old toys, and they're all better.
He's like, please, a crumb.
Exactly. And I think blue-purple blue-purple Kaido kind of follows him. It's a weaker leader, I would say, especially having 4 life. It has more stable dawn acceleration, but like at this point in the game, dropping a 9 cost or a 10 cost.
If you want blue-purple dawn acceleration, you have the same issue as Hannibal. What's the payoff? Like, where do you get the reward for your dawn acceleration?
Yep, but Hannibal has a much stronger early game, right? And that kind of saves him and pushes him up.
I mean, you have Tenko's Kaido here, but Tenko's Kaido in black meta, where stuff cannot be KO'd often, not gonna cut it.
Even though I kind of hate Katakuri, I think he, especially in this meta... Oh, are we talking... Yeah, we're talking about EBO1 meta.
EBO1, yeah.
Then I would say he's close to NL.
But
I still think it's at least a dark horse, at least. Yeah. If it was OPO6, my mind is getting confused because we are basically playing OPO6 tournaments.
Yeah. European life.
There, he's definitely a tier 2 deck. But yeah, I think he heavily falls off in EBO1 because he struggles so hard versus Law. I would say a shame, but good riddance. Okay, red-purple kid. I've been experimenting with it.
I'm not gonna lie.
But...
Yeah, just having 4K for the first 2 lives, not the nicest. But in theory, 5 life as red-purple is pretty good.
And I mean, the ability is also not bad. Like, late game, you're swinging for 7 for free, basically.
Yeah.
So, I gave him some time. Maybe not enough. I feel like he has potential. I don't think it's just being realized yet, and not sure if the meta is correct. But 5 life is kind of strong.
Cody Jones.
Yeah, for now at least.
Green Kid. Here-ish. Like, if I had to play a very bare bones basic deck, and it was this deck, I would not complain too much, but I wouldn't ever willingly take it to a tournament in this day and age. Like, if you want a film deck, Uta is significantly better.
Yep.
And there's Kinemon, who is interesting. I would probably rate him above Kid because of all the support that Wano got in EBO1. Like, Hiyori is especially nice in Kinemon because you can play her turn 2 going second. So, yep. I'm not sure where I would put him though. I haven't tested it at all.
I mean, no one has to be to be honest. But
he has a funny
Firelife Leader.
face, so
Yeah, Firelife Leader, aggressive. Got some more support. Struggles with finishing the game. Like, what card? Let's say your opponent flips Kinemon. What card does he play? And you're like, oh, how can I handle this? Like what?
depending on your deck, Ninko Zora. That's it.
Yeah, but that's.
It's not exclusive
sure.
to him, of course.
But what's he doing till then? Playing Dangerous for 3 Dawn?
No, Dangerous doesn't work. Oh, I mean, you mean as a vanilla? I mean, no. You have the Mountain God now. You don't have to play Dangerous.
Sure.
You can play the 5/7 vanilla. I agree, though. He's also, much like Kid, very bare bones. Like, those old green abilities are... I don't know. No, not it. Very outdated. Speaking of outdated, I think this was outdated as soon as it came out.
Yep.
But there's a new one, a better one coming, so...
Kura... We had fun with Kura, but...
I'm just thinking how low, like, here-ish?
Something like that. Like, he still has some cool plays, and especially he plays a lot on 4 life leaders. But
nowadays, 4 life leaders have so many defensive tools, it doesn't even feel true. Like, Reiju has so many counters she draws, Enel is not a 4 life leader, Sakazuki has Rebecca's, and now Mori has to bring back Rebecca's, which is, constantly disrupting Kura's ability to kill him, on top of removing Kura's board consistently. Just the general increase of Law obviously has a ton of blockers, so just the general increase in durability of 4 life leaders. I don't think it works for Kuro. It worked when the 4 life leader of choice was Red-Green Law, who had a bunch of small bodies that you could, rest and kill easily and just put pressure that way, generating card advantage left and right. But with this, I don't know, like, you have to have, like, a few very high-value plays, like, if you play against Red Purple Law and get a Don Krieg on 2/4 costs, and maybe do that again, and then you're probably fine. But, yeah, it doesn't seem good nowadays.
Yep.
Now, Kiros. We talked about him in the recent pod review. Where do you see him? Like, once again, access to black color elevates the leader by itself.
I would say, yeah, underbill a bit, probably. Like, at the moment, maybe we can find a build which makes him work, but from what I've seen, still, I didn't touch him personally. We've been very busy with tournaments, right? To do exploration, but yeah. Let's just leave him here, and we'll see what we can do about him.
Okay, now where to place Red Purple Law in EBO1 meta? That's probably the biggest.
I think this is going to be a hot take, but I think it's tier 2.
I mean, I'm leaning towards it just because his whole shtick is trying to abuse the high presence of Sakazuki's, and that's not a reliable strategy. Like, if you run into other decks,
really struggles,
notably Moria, then you are kind of screwed.
Yep.
And I feel if we put him into tier 1, we might end up with having more tier 1 decks than tier 2, which also isn't justified. Like, I think tier 2 is going to be the best decks, and Law is not it. Like, he is very near the top, though.
I think the results show the same sentiment. Like, I think there were 0 Red Purple
0
Laws to lose. Like, that shows. Yeah.
Europe loves their Morias, and there were a few in NA. There were actually a decent bit of Red Purple Laws in NA, and I believe 3 got top 8, but
yeah, and now in Korea, much less the finals Moria. Was Law, right?
Yeah, Law against Whitebeard.
Whitebeard, yeah.
But yeah, we saw Law drop, like, he ran the 4-cost blocker, which is supposed to make that matchup pretty good, but then he was dropping them on curve, and probably not the way to do it.
Okay. I think this deck just gets hard countered by Lucci. Like, the fact that you cannot get a full card of value out of your 1-cost blockers hurts so much. Like, the
Okay.
whole... Yeah.
The issue is, like, if you pit him against the leaders that are going to be in Tier 1 and Tier 2, like the Black decks and Red-Purple Law, he's terrible. But if you pit him against anything else in this entire chart, he just probably stomps them. So, it is a dilemma, but I still think he's strong. He just struggles into the best decks. So...
And he's pretty fine versus yellow decks. No, I would put him behind Ivankov, I think. Maybe even behind Ace.
I think that's overdoing it. I will deny that notion.
Fine. Okay, Lucci.
Little Lucci.
We actually performed really well in a 3v3, but he was a meta call versus Whitebeard.
Yeah.
Aside
Discarding 2
from
cards
that-
to attack again.
I mean, versus Whitebeard, that was very important.
Yeah, but nowadays, discarding 2 cards for any reason,
Is, like, unimaginable.
that's a huge luxury. If you can spare those 2 cards by playing... Like, effectively, he doesn't have a leader ability until he... until the late game. So if you can play a mono-black leader that's doing well without leader ability, until you need to discard 2 cards, we'll just pick Smoker or Moria, because they have an actual ability throughout the game. Well, they don't have access to the exact same card pool. Like, a nice lobby and Spandom are unique to Robucci, but those 2 cards alone, you're not going to see them every game when you need them. And stuff like Air Door is just outdated. So yeah, if you want to play mono black and you often end up in situations where you can spare 2 cards to discard, then like play Moria by all means. That's more counters. You're never gonna lose. That's what Christian does. So
Yep.
it's somewhere not worth the effort for sure.
For sure. I would say... I think it's better than Isha.
It looks nice next to OP03 Ace Alternate as well.
Okay, now this deck...
Green Luffy.
I saw it a couple of times being tested with... basically, Cavendish is a supernova. You can restant Cavendish and then use his ability twice, which makes your leader ability free.
Shout out
And even that kind of sucks. Like, no, I would put it under. Like,
whoa, you're crazy.
do you know how much the leader ability costs?
4, but he can run the film engine, which is pretty efficient.
4 Dawn, my dude.
But you're not using it every turn. You're using it to close out games after being aggressive. Okay, sure. Just tell me where to put. I disagree, but I'll humor you since I denied it.
No. We'll find some middle ground. I would say
I would rate him above Robucci. Like,
above Robucci.
yes.
It's a black 5-cost leader.
Yeah,
It
but
can
this
play more,
you just go Luffy, Brook, Nami, boom. You have a full board. Now you're swinging, tap. Then you play Cavendish. Or you I don't know. I like him. Like, not like him, but he's fun. And he has access to all the fun engines. And he can be aggressive.
Sure. Put him here.
Where did you want to put him?
Under, but...
No, where exactly? Before my... Where would he be?
Actually, under Isha.
Under Isha. So middle ground is literally here. Okay.
Yep.
We were not that far off then.
Okay, Purple Luffy. The closest game I almost lost in Toulouse was Purple Luffy. I'm playing Moria. He goes second. He goes leader ability, Magellan. I'm looking at my hand. It's a couple of eruptions and removal. I'm like, cool. Nothing I can do. Okay,
You were right
do some
about...
pressure. Do some pressure. Hog back. His next turn drops another Magellan. I'm like, nice. There's these 2 dudes who are asking for my money every turn. And there's nothing I can do. Like,
No, they're offering you protection. That's how it works.
right. Anyways, and not only that, like, first turn, I hog back. My only target is Amoria. I'm like, okay. He does 1 Magellan. And because I'm first, I'm like, okay, now I'm on even curve. Okay, I'm gonna play my Moria. I never played that Moria. Like, he plays another Magenta, now I'm on odd curve. Like, forget about it.
Yeah, the pain of not having Hound Blaze against this leader.
Yeah. Anyways, he also got. You can actually utilize Reiju to some extent in that deck in late game situations.
I'm just rolling my eyes because you really push the idea of Reiju in him a lot, but I don't see it.
That card is insane. But yeah, if you can, we're in late game situation. I counter it. I'm at 3 life. We are both at 10 dawn. Drop Reiju, draw 2 cards. That's a very potent play. Anyways, and Bone Clay works also well in the deck.
Much better than the vanilla.
Yep. Yeah, somewhere here. Yeah.
Yeah, I agreed with you and put law below Ace.
I think this leader is just a meme.
Yeah, but is he Hody Jones meme? No, at all.
No.
He has to be better than Hody Jones.
And now that I think about it, I think probably Kaida is better than Hody Jones.
Yeah, I think a lot of stuff is better than Hody Jones.
Mom as well, probably. Okay, and then the leader that...
Might as well.
The leader that gets power hits probably the most. Like, why are you running this leader? Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's harsh. Like, base power level, he's probably higher than this. He can play efficient red aggro, but you have other options. You can play Zoro.
For example, yeah.
Black Luffy. Shoutouts to Justin Tillman for being the only person to ever achieve anything with this deck. When he just, much like Robucci, he used it as a counter pick to Whitebeard to great success.
And
these
the
days,
deck felt almost purposely built for that. Naturally swinging 6s, having 5 life. But
yeah, let's put it.
I mean, what are you doing now? Yeah, something maybe even better than Robucci. Anyways, red purple Luffy. Almost a dark horse, yeah.
Yeah, he's very. I wouldn't expect him to win an event though.
Yeah, so I would
like dark horse, I imagine chances of it winning an event.
Yeah.
And that's.
Let's put him here. But
like he's definitely strong. He can steal game from any deck at the top of the meta.
Yep.
But especially because he's really good counter to red purple. But to actually win an event, you need more than just 1 or 2 good matchups.
I mean, Shuraya and whatchamacallit, Bon Kurei do hamper it, but he also benefits from Bon Clay.
And from Shuraya.
So, but I still believe that the deck is quite potent. Okay, Black Yellow Luffy, the bane of my existence. Is it a tier 2 deck? Like, on one hand, I believe that you can skill gap people very hard with this deck. On the other hand, it often feels like you auto-lose to Sakazukis and Laws.
I wouldn't say Law is an auto-lose. Like, there's definitely
you can just bottom deck stuff, and you have Shuraya and Bon Clay.
I mean, yeah, the biggest issue is the Bon Clay. They don't have the Water 7, not Water 7, Egghead Luffy yet, so it does get difficult. But, maybe Subway, maybe... I don't know. Still, like, he's so well positioned into Moria.
Or top Dark Horse.
I want to say bottom tier 2. That's where I see him. Like,
possibly, especially now with the rise of Moria. It could be, yeah. Okay.
This is just the starter Luffy that's coming out, and who knows when. So, skipping over that. Magellan.
I would rather play him than Garp even.
Next to his boss? Actually, which one of them is the boss?
Magellan is the boss, and the other guy is like...
a security guard, yeah, sure.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, definitely. Yes. Which...
Yeah, I really wonder what Christian thinks about Gekko Moria. What do you think, guys?
Pretty cool deck. Although, I do have to preface this that even though currently my whole competitive career has been, oh, you're the Gecko guy. As I said, I've signed a Gecko leader. So I'm currently known as the guy. But at the beginning of the format, he was my third deck. The first one being actually Yamato, the second one being Sakazuki, and then Moria. And then slowly through testing, he was rising. I just barely decided on Moria instead of Sakazuki. And the rest is history. The deck just proved to be insanely more consistent than anyone else thought.
Yeah, let's just sort this out immediately. It's like this. This is the order.
I think Sakazuki is a stronger deck, but Moria is a more consistent deck. We talked about this, but yeah, the results show it feels like this, yeah.
Yeah, just to get that out of the way immediately, because I'm sure when people get to this part, they'll be like, okay, but where does Sakazuki go? Does it? Yeah, that's where it goes. I would like to argue otherwise, but it's really difficult to argue with reality. You have to
do you
have
want
a
to talk
special
about
mind for that.
Saka anymore? Like anything else to add?
Honestly, it's just, I don't know. I feel like the deck often performs well, but just being a 4-life leader does have that element of instability, and sometimes you just get blown out by people having this stuff. And it can be, especially mirrors, can be very painful when you get out Moriad and out Ice Age, and you just get completely blown out. But also matchups like Red Purple, where, you know, missing remove for one turn and you're almost out of the game. And then if you cannot deal with stuff sufficiently, you get run over. Yeah. That's not a problem for Moria, who has 5 life. So I think generally access to power plays that Sakazuki has access to are, you know, almost a magnitude stronger than anything Moria can do. Mm-hmm. But they're not as reliable, or like you cannot as reliably set them up just because of the nature of having access to less life and less cards.
Oftentimes, I think I at least once 1 or 2, maybe even 3 Saka games across the weekend where I put enough pressure that on 8 they have to do Rebecca Lucci instead of Moria Lucci. Because
as in Rebecca Hina Lucci, yeah.
Yeah, because they really need that blocker, otherwise they're probably dead. And at that point, they constantly have to keep a Rebecca up, or they just get run over.
Yeah, just for the record, like, when Chris and I play against each other, it's pretty close to 50-50. Like, the matchup itself, but then you just look at stuff and the rest of the meta. How does the deck do against Red Purple, against NL, against Katakuri? Like, with Moria, I don't think you can reasonably lose to NL, especially the aggro variant. You can definitely... You can lose to Red Purple, but it's going to be much harder than with Sakazuki. And then it's just like, how much weight do you put on this black-yellow Luffy matchup, where Sakazuki almost does a walk in the park, and Moria, you know, it's playable, but it's a struggle. So, yeah, and also all the red decks, which we haven't come to yet, Whitebeard, Zoro, they try to abuse Sakazuki specifically with their aggression.
Yep.
And Moria just doesn't have the same issue when he has 5 life to deal with such strategies based on pure aggression. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I hate to admit it, but you'll be seeing me on Moria in Birmingham and Milheim.
And you can presume me as well. Nami, I actually have high opinion of Nami. I know you don't.
Okay, I'm listening.
I would actually put her in top of the needs lots of love.
The thing is, I can imagine Red Purple Luffy topping. I can imagine even the Lakers Croc topping. But imagining Nami topping... I mean, okay, I can also imagine Nami topping, but when I would imagine why Nami is topping, it would not be the same as these other 2 decks. Where with these other 2 decks, you have the power to do it, and you can just play well and beat people, and the deck can perform. With Nami, if you top, it feels more like I've just ran into enough unprepared opponents that, you know, it worked out. That's how Nami feels to me. Like, if I had to honest rate her, it would be like here.
I think it's better, at least better than Ivankov, probably. Like,
Because look at this. Should Nami beat Moria? I don't think so. Should she beat Sakazuki? Never. Should she beat Red Purple? Never. Should she beat this? Very unlikely. Should she beat this? Possible. Should she beat this? Never. That's like... Assuming people playing these decks know the matchups.
Sure.
And there's a lot more decks that we have to come to, like Zora and Whitebeard, which also, like, I don't think Nami's ever beating them if they play well. So
Whitesnake is a card.
yes, if you play poorly into it. Like if you decide to start swinging 5 with Weenies into Nami that has 9 don't open, and you know she runs Whitesnake, then it's a card, yeah.
If you want to downgrade,
if we do middle ground, it's like somewhere here between Ivanko and Lakers Croc.
Sure, I would put it above Ivankov.
Yeah.
Okay, is Whitebeard Dark Horse or Tier 2?
Oh yeah, G, or how the French say Barba Blanche, which is
Barba Blanche.
So nice sounding. So are you debating between Tier 2 and Dark Horse?
Yeah.
Because he has had a decent string of performances lately.
Yeah,
like top after top after
trust
top.
Me, when I'm playing Moria, even though I think Moria is far more better equipped to play versus Whitebeard than Sakazuki, things can happen. Like, I lost a best of 3 top 16 in Toulouse, right? Sure, one game was an on-game, and the other, I think I did a subtle but a very important misplay. Sure, if you have a normal game plan and you see a decent amount of 2Ks, at least 3, you can have a relatively easy time.
Yeah, because Moria can just recur the 2Ks for...
Yeah.
For quite a while.
And as well, your Moria is not only a big body, but it also gives you value. You can recur blockers, you naturally swing 6s, Perona is a card. There are things, right? But also he does pretty well into Law, into Sakazuki, into Yellow decks. Like,
okay, so would you put in Tier 2?
I think I would. I think
okay,
I
and would you stand by your statement of Black Yellow Luffy being at the bottom of Tier 2 then? Meaning Whitebeard is above? Because I can see it. I can definitely see it.
If I'm going to a tournament, I would much rather take Barba Blanche and be like, okay, I'm gonna play. Rather than take Black Yellow Luffy, my opponent flips Sakazuki and I'm grabbing my face, right?
I agree. Yeah. Oh, it feels a bit odd to have an OPO2 leader all the way up here, but...
Like, I don't think people expect that, but it's true.
And he keeps having good results, so...
Okay, Odin...
I used to love playing this.
Yeah. Yeah. Behind. Yeah, here.
I think this is where he stays. New Odin, though. Like, he's kind of... I don't want to say, like, red-green. I won't say he's kind of like this leader, but...
I think he's better than green-red Luffy, for sure. Is he better than Lucci? Nah.
Okay. He has the same ability as Ace, though, kind of. Maybe we overrated Ace, but yeah. We won't stick too much on this part of the...
Now, Zoro, even though, sure, power creep, yada yada, I find it such a hard time to put him as Dark Horse.
Really?
I would be surprised if he tops.
But he did top. He topped it to lose, like top 8, I think. Or top 16, actually.
And I was surprised.
Well, he can also run Kid and Killer. Good card.
True. And is the meta kind to him?
He also had some results in the East, like Natsume, one of the Japanese representatives, qualified with Zoro. So... I don't think the meta is particularly kind to him, but he just can do it. He's a 5-life red leader, and he can brute force stuff, the old school way.
I think he's worse than Katakuri, for sure.
I'm just saying,
But
if I was
sure.
going to a tournament and I had to pick from one of these 3 decks, I would pick Zoro. And now, maybe that would be me delusionally believing it gives me the best chances, but it's fine. He's close to Katakuri in my mind in terms of power.
Okay. Perona. Perona hard counters Moria. Let me tell you that. Like,
Yeah, but
if you wanna take a deck to hard counter Moria and you think Black Yellow Luffy is just too spicy for you, or not spicy enough, I should say, Perona is, and also Perona got some
red
decent
purple.
support with.
Actually, no, she loses to red purple probably.
Not sure. I haven't played the matchup enough. Ryuma seems pretty cool. Most of his units are 4 costs, like Bonkray, cute, rest, swing. Yeah. At least here. I think this is fine.
And it just feels right to have her around here because she doesn't fare well into Katakuri if she runs into him. Probably not into Black Yellow Luffy either. Like, all the good stuff she only gets in OPS 7, where the Wano engine is, well supported, and she gets the Eiko Sabo, and Eiko Sabo is kind of crucial to dealing with Red Purple Wall's development, because if you can rest one unit attack into it, that only matters if you don't get overrun on the rest of the board. But if you kill one body, Ryuma, and they just, Gordon, bottom your Ryuma, play 2 bodies, you're not going to be getting
You're still
anywhere.
losing that match.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, what has to happen is I have to leave now. Hrvoje lives slightly closer, so he's gonna finish this tier list by himself.
Is that really the plan? Okay.
No, that wasn't planned, but that's what's happening, because I have to leave, and we don't want to leave you hanging with just a couple of leaders left. So, I bid you farewell. Hrvoje, I trust in your judgment. And that's all. I'll be seeing you all in Birmingham. Say hello, and Hrvoje, have fun, and I'll see you very soon.
All right. Oh, wait, I just realized if I leave the call, it doesn't... Oh, it's fine, we can do it without my webcam. Because if I leave the call, then my Discord capture is also gone. In any case, let's try to wrap this up. So there's Queen. I think Christian and I have a pretty similarly aligned opinion on most leaders, so we shouldn't diverge too much. Queen is one of the strongest of meta leaders. Like, if you exclude all the meta leaders, he's probably the best of the rest. Is that good enough for the current format? Well, no. It needs lots of love, and the tier I would put him in probably here. The more I think about the red-green lost placement, I would even put him below the Doffy and maybe even Iceberg. Definitely below Doffy, just because of how he matches up into other decks. And Queen's problems are mainly that Sakazuki exists and that Moria is very good at out-resourcing pretty much everything, and Red Purple is gonna overrun him, Whitebeard is gonna overrun him. Just a product of a different time. Maybe even lower than this. But he's a very control-heavy deck, and if you want control, these two are your go-tos. Rebecca, similar thing as Sakazuki, as Queen, in regards to having to control the game, but not really being able to do so as effectively as the two best leaders. She's by no means like a bad leader. I just think nobody's going to play her while Sakazuki exists. So even if she's a reasonable bit strong, she does get overrun by top decks. And I think she's actually in a very similar position to Queen, because when they released, they were like almost 2 sides of the same coin in how they approach controlling the game. She just does it with black cards and a very explosive finish with the Gear 4 Luffy instead of all the big bodies that Queen assembles. So, this doesn't feel too wrong. Then Reiju, I think her days are gone. With the Red Purple existing and being popular, and Sakazuki's learning how to deal with Reiju in the meta, Like, I would never put her below meme leaders like this. So she probably still goes like somewhere up here. Because she's very similar in her playstyle. I went over this in my Reiju guide, which you can check out on Patreon for free. It's one of the free guides. She plays very similar to up to pure purple Luffy. In the sense that you swarm the board, you go for that really big board swarm play, and all the while you just accumulate cards in hand so you can defend. She does it in the other way, like Luffy trades life to get Dawn. So he effectively trades cards out of his hand to get Dawn because he cannot tank an extra attack that Reiju can, whereas Reiju does it the other way around. She trades her Dawn to get extra cards. But the end goal is the same. You assemble a board and you have a lot of counters in hand to defend it, and use that to pressure the opponent. And it's a decently efficient playstyle. It's just that it matches up so poorly against the current top leaders in Sakazuki and Red Purple Law that I think C's are very rough until at least OPS 7, where I think the Foxy Pirates engine might change things up. And people used to think she was favored into Moria, but as one of the people who tested against Christian's Moria the most, I can assure you it's not as smooth. It's not terrible, but, you know, it's not as easy matchup as people used to think. Sabo? If you're looking for a red aggressive leader that's, like, not standard, I actually think Sabo is probably your best bet. Like, if you ignore Zoro and Whitebeard, which are, like, the standard red aggressive leaders, Sabo has a lot of, you know, creative opportunities to be aggressive. If I had to choose between him and Bello Betty, I would probably choose... Actually, I'd probably choose Bello Betty now that I think about it. Like, the new Ivankov is pretty good, and Sabo is decently reliant on seeing all the right pieces at the right time. Actually, the more I think about it, he's probably not worth the effort here. Christian might disagree with me. Well, let me just think about this one carefully. So, you just want to push and buff your leader, and have, like, basically easily retrievable board, but your deck generally has lower card quality. Because you run kind of a mix of archetypes. You really rely on your opponent not just randomly starving you when you put too much stuff into your life or just cannot defend board properly. Yeah, I don't know. The more I think about it, the lower I want to place him. Maybe my life would be simpler if I moved Dolphy up here, just so he's at the end of Needless of Love tier. And then I can place... Because putting something at the end of this tier, and then looking down at Dolphy, I don't know, it feels wrong to have that thing rated above Dolphy, who still has access to a lot of blue power plays that play decently well into some of the meta leaders. Red Black Sabo, I'm not gonna hang on too long to this. He does very well into very specific decks that are reliant on KOing, but much like Garp, he doesn't have a way to abuse the synergy between red and black. In fact, he has a worse way of abusing it. He just plays a rusher, like a Kid Killer or whatever, and then hopes it lives, doesn't get KO'd, rather than mixing the Dawn attachment with a cost reduction. So, maybe it's actually stronger than Garp. Like, having a free pass on defending Kid and Killer once does sound good. But nah, I'm probably just overthinking it. Somewhere like here. Yeah, this Sakazuki leader, I legit forgot what he does. He's like a worse Zephyr. So, maybe like this. Like, there's so many better mono-black leaders. Blue-green Sanji, definitely not worth the effort. It's kind of similar gimmick to the red-green Luffy, except now he also has Cavendish, but the synergy between red and green is much better than between green and blue because of all the... what's it called? All the supernova overlap between red and green, and that makes things flow much smoother, and the film overlap as well. There's no such thing between green and blue. You're just hoping your good cards are good enough, and he just plays a lot of vanillas, so I'll probably even downgrade him below Isha, because green and black once again work much better as a color combination. A purple Shanks, yep. Smoker. Well, he does have a relevant ability. Like, that already puts him, I think, above Robuchi because you can use it for most of the game. The thing is, there's not that many 1-costs which are relevant in the meta. It's basically only Tashigi in Sakazuki and the Garp in Black Yellow Luffy. And if you're playing this against Black Yellow Luffy, you're not having a lot of fun. So, not the most relevant ability, but not awful either. Like, we know that -1 on demand is good. The fact you have to pay for the -1 stings. Still, access to all the good black cards. I feel somewhere around Garp's tier. Like, just not the best way to play for a move in this game, but passable. The vanilla buff for Uta. Just by virtue of being red, she's better than most of these. Green Uta is actually what I would still classify as a dark horse. Above Zoro, I think. Above Katakuri, I think. Possibly even above NL. So she's not reliably going to be beating any of the top tier decks. Unless she can log down games with 8-cost Kid. But within this tier, she presents a real threat. Her board swarm potential is strong. The support she got is good. It increased her consistency, her raw power. Like, she's definitely something you have to look out for when playing a competitive tournament. And I assume there's always going to be one Uta making it to the top tables. So yeah, I think she's fine being in a dark horse tier. Vivi is a meme. How much of a meme? Probably somewhere here. Red, purple, Uta. Once again, not the best synergy between colors, especially when there's at least 2 better options. In red, purple, and red, purple Luffy. So there should never be a real reason to run red, purple Uta. Unless you somehow want to abuse the mix of film engines, but the red film engine is just power reduction, and the purple one is some amount of consistency and card draw. They don't really mix very well. So yeah, she goes somewhere in here. Like, outdated concept, released far too late into the game's existence. Yellow Yamato, she's like pseudo Whitebeard, but it's no problem to Yellow Mom. When you have to attach Dawn to get an ability and it kind of ruins your curve, yeah, you're probably not having the best time. Now, Green Yellow Yamato, in OPS 6 I would put her into Dark Horse, probably. Nowadays, feels very unnatural to put her that high. Like, somewhere, maybe at the end of Dark Horse tier. I would never bet on someone playing Green Yellow Yamato in a tournament, is what I'm trying to say. It might sound a bit cruel, given her potential to just quickly win games, but Sakazukis have adapted. They are consistently beating Yamato players, Moria even more so, given his consistency. Wall has a ton of blockers, Whitebeard is like, just, he doesn't care if he has to take life, so... Would I rather run into a Yamato or Red Purple Luffy in a tournament? Probably into Yamato. And then whether Perona or Yamato, probably Perona. So I think she fits here. Like, at the very top of needs lots of love tier, but I wouldn't expect her to do anything fantastic. Zephyr is, outdated. Somewhere... Like, having 4 life and this color combination with nothing much to show for it is risky. He's basically a much worse Kairos with a slightly better color combination. And even that's arguable, because card advantage from purple versus relevant KOs from yellow. I'm even giving it more to yellow than purple, especially given how hefty his cost on the leader ability is. And finally, blue and green, Zoro and Sanji. That's a mouthful. Yeah, I don't value... Do I consider him better in terms of leader ability than red-green Luffy? Probably not. it's just the same kind of mixed bag. Like a lot of issues, difficult to fix them. It's a lot more difficult to try and tier list alone. So let's just do a quick recap of at least the top tiers. Both Christian and I believe that Moria is the strongest leader now. I was convinced of this decent bit ago, but my ego wouldn't let me play not Sakazuki. I want to prove myself with Sakazuki, and it keeps falling short. So I'll just accept the Church of Moria. And even though Sakazuki does have the higher ceiling in tournaments, he doesn't have the same stability as Moria does. And tournaments are usually about consistency and stability when you play out a large number of rounds. Moria is just the safer choice. So that's why we rate him above Sakazuki. Not by much, but we do believe he is the call. At least until people decide, hey, it's time to hard counter Moria and play a bunch of Black Yellow Luffy. And for tier 2, we have Red Purple leading the pack with the ability to feast on so many decks in the meta, including Sakazuki, who is always well represented in both Initial Spins and Top Cut, and pretty much every other less relevant deck. Whitebeard, once again, a great abuser of aggressive strategies. He has that kind of secret buff where people who haven't played at the time that he was first good, like OPO2, OPO3, they don't know how to play against Whitebeard. We've seen this a few times on stream. People just kind of get lost against this 6k leader, and they forget how to attack him properly to, guarantee lethals and stuff. So it leads to some very unfortunate moments on stream for some players, but it is like a secret power. Like, if you run into someone who doesn't know what they should be doing, that 6k could just easily carry you to victory. And then Black Yellow Luffy as the main counter to Moria, but a very, very sad matchup with Sakazuki. Yeah, I mean, not much to say. He keeps getting good support. He's going to keep getting more support. Fairly consistent in the execution. Strong aggressive deck. If he can actually get his life to 0, sky's the limit. He can start popping off and spamming rush aces and whatnot. And then against any deck reliant on KO removal, he just spams sabos. And it's really difficult to come back from unkOable boards at that point. In the Dark Horse tier, we have, I'll just briefly go over them. Enel, who now has access to both a very aggressive strategy with, did someone say Kami, and starter deck 13 Ace. And also a very control-heavy strategy where he can run Kingdom Comes and just focus more on prolonging the game, removing any relevant threats. The aggressive strategy is probably better into decks like Sakazuki, just because you're not going to be outgrinding a Sakazuki once they drop a Moria. It's just a fact of life. Like, they can play Kuzan on 4 and they're probably winning already. They can just Moria, revive the Kuzan if you get rid of him, and then they're almost certainly winning. So, yeah. Then there's Uta. She has a very powerful swarm. In Japan, in EBO1 meta, their qualifier was won by a player running Uta. So obviously she has, and she has several tops over in the West by now. She has had good results. Requires a different skill set to play than most leaders in the meta, because she has that ability to just log the game down with 8 Ghost Kid. And generally she can choose between those very diverging playstyles of building a board and being aggressive at board, or at some point giving up board and doing what Green Kid used to do in like OPO1, where you see her like, okay, I'm not getting anywhere by trying to fight for board. I'll just try and finish the game with leader ability. With Uta, is just like invincible, 999, hope it's enough. She has that out to close out games. And often it's enough, and knowing to recognize between those diverging paths in a game is part of her skill set. And honestly, if you're teaching someone the game, the best deck to hand them is Uta, as she teaches pretty much all the fundamentals that are relevant to the game of One Piece. Katakuri, yeah, he just fell off. With Red Purple Law, there is an extra deck that just abuses him, an extra bad matchup. Katakuri has always had an issue with decks that can swarm the board fast and attack him a lot, like go very wide. And now there's an extra deck that does that and can also take care of cards like Ikunoja and Perospero without giving them their on KO effects. So yeah, he has fell down in pecking order quite a bit. I wouldn't expect to see too many Katakuris in tournaments now. I expect, since yellow players tend to, play yellow, not play specific yellow leader, I would expect most of them to switch to NL at this point, as NL is demonstrably stronger. And finally, at the very bottom of the Dark Horse tier is Zoro, like the quintessential aggro red leader. He didn't get much tools, he only got Kid and Killer, but if you see enough of these 4-life leaders like Sakazuki, like Red Purple Law, and you see enough rush and you're Diablo Jambes, you just end the game in a flash. Like, it's stupid, kind of a stupid strategy, but it works. It blitzes people, and yeah. That's about all there is to say about Zoro. He still does the fast attacking quickly the best among all the One Piece leaders, but it's not something that's going to lead to consistent results, especially when there are some completely unwinnable or like very difficult to win matchups such as NL and Black Yellow Luffy. Because nowadays there's no top end in Zoro to deal with either of them. There's no 9 cost, so yeah. I think that about sums it up for the tier list. I'm not going to go too over the lower tiers. At some point we are going to rework the list when OPS 7 comes out. That's something you can expect when we do card review for OPS 7. We'll try to do it in a much smaller number of episodes this time around, ideally 1 or 2, just go through everything at once. It's going to be very long, but it will give you a lot of listening material. And then we'll do a lot of testing, some of which we will publish on Patreon, some of which on YouTube. And afterwards we will remake the tier list with our impressions of the upcoming meta, and then we'll probably revisit it towards the end of the format when we are in the stage of OPS 7 that we now have in OPS 6, where there's a lot of tournaments behind us, a lot of experience gained, a lot of new insights. It'll make for an interesting progression of how our opinions have diverged. And to be fair, we're probably not going to be ranking every single leader in the future just because it's a decent bit time consuming. But yeah, as things stand, this is what we arrived at. And since I'm also in a rush at this point, it's been a while, I'll be closing the podcast with this. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for supporting us. Once again, congratulations to Christian for his 2 fantastic results this weekend. Like, his consistency in this format has been incredible, and I think unmatched even. When you just look over the events played versus events stop ratio. And yeah, if you will be in Bergen, we'll be very glad to meet you, so walk up to us, talk to us, and yeah, until next time.